And the
podcast
begins with a song of rebellion.
How can this
podcast
be my life?
CD Burners.
Hello, fart ass.
Isn't that the name of one of their songs?
Who, 303?
Yeah, it's not on this album, but they do have a song called Ausfahrt, and it's like
Dude.
Sean doing a German guy impression.
They're so fucking
Maybe you should
funny.
look that up and play it
Okay.
on the.
I'm not seeing it.
Well, whatever.
Hello, fart asses. Welcome to another edition of CD Burners.
Today we are talking about 303 Want.
Dude, it's so fucking sick. I don't give a shit. This is like such a goddamn good album.
It's really fun. This whole album is just so fun. 303 is the most fun band in the world.
And we were really lucky to go on tour with them. We actually, when we do these fucking podcasts, we look up as much information as we can about the artist, right? And so I was reading their, whatever. It was fucking, you go to the Wikipedia first just to get these like quick fucking things. It's like the history of it. It's like, and then 303 went on tour with Emo Night and Lil Aaron, and we're like mentioned in their
For the 10-year anniversary of this album, we got to celebrate it with them. So there's a lot of these albums that we listen to that I'm like, oh, I need to listen to it a bunch of times because I don't really know the album. I maybe know the hits. I've heard this album hundreds and hundreds of times.
every single night for what, like 3 months or something?
It was like, it was like a month and a half.
Whatever.
But yeah, every single night heard this album front to back live, and it's a fucking great album.
I feel like we were so lucky to get to do that with them. I can't.
I wish we could do it again.
I I really try to not be biased on these things, and I really try to be like say how I feel without, even if I do know the artists. Like, we just did Seosin, and which is such a strange juxtaposition to go from Seosin, which is such a goddamn serious band, to 303, who's famously unserious.
Yeah, I mean, their most famous lyric is about doing the Helen Keller and talking with your hips as a way to tell somebody to dance.
It's fucking so sick. They rule so hard. I was saying is like I'm so lucky to know these guys, and it's really difficult to find. Like, I can find something wrong with everything. Obviously, there's every album we've done. I'm like, this sucks, fuck that. This sounds like shit. This one, since we know them personally, I'm like, okay, that was stupid. I love it. Or that sounds like shit. I love it.
Well, this album came out July 8th, 2008 on Photo Finish Records. It's 12 songs. Another 39-minute slapper. There is a deluxe version that has a few more songs and a few more features, including one with Katy Perry on Starstruck.
Oh, Catherine,
yes.
a little bit about Photo Finish.
Tell us about it.
We were with an agency, and we were with an agent. His name is Matt Galley, who's a big, influential guy in this scene in particular.
Yeah, he's literally thanked on like every one of these albums. Like Seosin,
Yeah.
I opened it up as Matt Galley.
Yeah.
Black Parade, Matt Galley.
Yeah, you went to his wedding.
Yes, I did.
So, like, that's his label. It's just really fucking cool because he's so tapped in with this, and like Gabe support, like all these fucking people. Like, it's really cool. And it's strange because if you know him, he looks like he kind of would really, really love 303 and like Cobra. Like, he's like doesn't look like to me like a guy who like works with my cam. He looks more like a 303 guy.
Yeah, he's got that like Boston frat boy look to him.
Which I've heard people describe 303 as
Frat boy. Yeah.
Frat boy.
I'd never thought of that before I started watching these YouTube videos.
I legitimately never thought of it until I heard people say it.
Which I guess makes sense. They're kind of like they met in college. They're making irreverent, funny music about partying and having a good time and dancing and sleeping with hoes.
It's awesome.
It's great.
Couldn't be better.
The thing about it all that I think some people miss, like if they get upset about it or whatever, is they don't understand that it's tongue in cheek. And these are two of like the smartest, funniest, sweetest guys in the world. Like, they're so kind.
Dude, we can't gas too much. We have to stay on the course. We can't.
Well, I think even, a casual
but I
fan
agree.
of 303 can watch them on stage, and even in the vlogs that they put out, like the way that they presented themselves on MySpace, the way that they made their music videos, you can tell that they're kind of like in on the joke. They don't take it seriously. Nothing about this is serious at all. And if you think that they mean for half a second that women are lesser than men, or they mean anything derogatory about women, like, you're missing the point of what they're doing.
What the weirdest thing is that you had to say that, because what other album are we going to be reviewing where we have to say that fits into this genre of what we're doing, right? Like, this shouldn't be here. Like,
Yeah.
this should not be part of what
It's-
we're doing.
It's like hip-hop, electro-pop, rap, and for some reason they get lumped in with Warped Tour and, like, the emo subculture. I think it's, it's more of like scene. It's more in the vein of like Millionaires, Cobra Starship, 303, like just MySpace music, what they called crunk core.
Yeah, I was talking to Nat like a while ago or something, and he was like, I never, like, sure, whatever, call it whatever you want. He's like, I didn't really consider, I don't know, crunkcore, but he's like, whatever. Like, it's really hard to describe this genre, especially when you're like, why does it fit in here? Why the fuck does it do it? And you know what, man? Yeah, I'm gonna compare it to something that like is in our time, because I think they are like the 100 gecs of where we're at, because 100 gecs fits into all of the stuff. It fits into everything, but shouldn't.
Yeah, like
fit into
100 Gex
anything.
can open for Phoebe Bridgers, but they could also open for like Knocked Loose, and it would be fine.
It would be fine. Like, they were like the first 100 gecs, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And on their new albums, they like worked with them, which is fucking. It's so fucking cool. I don't want to gas them too much, but that's like, they wrote this. It was 2008. It was a great year. It was a fucking sick year.
It's the year I graduated high school.
Tell me about what 2008 was like for you.
Dude, I was just cruising around in my Jeep Cherokee, like blasting 303. I was a huge fan. I remember finding the music video for Holler Till You Pass Out. And if you haven't seen this video, please go look it up, because Sean and Nat, two of the tallest people you'll ever meet, are playing basketball against a bunch of little kids and just like blocking their shots. And it's so funny. It's so funny.
I have some facts about 303 for you.
Okay.
Nat was voted the tallest man in Boulder, Colorado.
It was voted.
Mm-hmm.
They had an election for that.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
He was voted the tallest man.
This is a podcast of misinformation.
No, that's true.
That's
How
a
do you
true
know when
fact.
I'm lying?
Because who would have an election for
That's
the
crazy.
tallest man? That's a fact.
I was just gonna lie this entire podcast,
Mhm.
and you caught me on the first one.
Yeah.
That's crazy all the rest of my notes are garbage then, so we're done. But they were an unserious band. They made people and they made people laugh, and the songs are good. They're like all, when you look at the songwriting, right? Like, the lyrics are fucking nuts. If you guys know, you'll know some of these songs even if you weren't listening to this type of shit, because it hit pop radio. It hit
It
pop.
did.
Don't
They
trust
got-
me. Hit pop radio.
They got big.
Don't-
They were doing like wild stuff. And as I was doing my research, I was like, these guys have lived like 100 lives. Like, they've done so much stuff. Like, from collabing with Lil Jon and Kesha to like filming music videos at Planet Hollywood where they're just doing trick shots. Like, I kept finding these like little moments with these guys, and I maybe it's because I just know them like as a friend, but when you look back at the actual trajectory of 303 and the things that these dudes have done, it's pretty wild.
It's impressive too. It's like they're smart, and like this is why I always go back to like why they were like bedroom producers, right? That's started just doing it in the bedroom, and they gained some notoriety and got thrown on Warped Tour in 2008, I think, right? Like like 2007, 2008. Where they're on a smaller stage. They didn't have any band members then, so it was just like them backtrack with like hard punk bands like next to them, and everybody liked it. And what like why that happened is a anomaly, and I love it. Like it's shit like that I love, and that's why I think 303 is such a fucking. I also just are like, I don't know, what do you want to name the band? Where We Live. Like just there's so much pride in naming your band after like Denver. It's just so cool to see. They're notorious with a city, like, and I think that is so cool that Denver can't go on without having 303 as part of their history.
I just love that. I love that they still do like 303 Day every year, March 3rd. In Colorado, in Denver, they do a huge blowout show, like a huge blowout hometown show. And our other company, Rider Cry, just did a bunch of visuals for them. But like some of the videos I was seeing from that, so cool, so fun, like bringing out dancers and marching bands and just, continually having fun with it. And I think that's why we get along with them so well, is because we always try to have fun with what we do and make ourselves laugh.
I know we keep saying like, yeah, it's funny and it's silly, but the songs are legitimately great songs. It's such a fun album to listen to, like from front to back. Every single song is great, and you can tell that these guys are good songwriters. Like if they didn't take this path, like who the fuck knows?
Sean was an English major,
and Nat was gonna go to school for
medicine.
Yeah, he's gonna be a doctor.
They're really smart guys.
It's wild shit, you guys. Like, and the thing about their fans is their fans are like diehard. Spending a lot of time in Denver. That time, I think it was like real Wook City, and like they're diehard for shit. Like they're diehards, and their fans. Every person that I've met that's a 303 fan is a diehard 303 fan. Like you cannot say anything. Like doesn't matter what thing comes out that they like, 303 will always be at the top. People that I didn't suspect like 303, like 303. Like it's to me a really, really crazy time, an anomaly that they were put on Warped Tour, got lumped into this scene, and have continued to thrive, and everybody that plays music that is around them loves them. It's a really special thing. Back when we were doing our tour with them and looking at like all their accolades and all the people that they worked with, Nat would set up a projector with us every night, and like having, this fucking massive projector, it weighed so much, like, and because it had to be like really close to the screen, and we couldn't put it in some venues, whatever. It had to be this giant thing.
Dude, we were like they were roadieing their own shit like every day. We all were. We were loading in and out.
And to have like some of the accolades that they do and like still do that and to still care so much about it, watching them give it their all every single night, like never once being like, this fan was sucked, like this fucking shit, like never ever once did I hear anything negative.
Yeah.
Like they were just so happy to be there. And you can tell through the music. It's like, I knew every song on this album just from
being on tour.
I think after the tour, I texted Nat and Sean together, and I was like, you should do this acoustic. Like, put this album out acoustic, because the songs there's some beautiful parts on there. Like the chord progression, the melody. Block Party did this a lot. There's some bands that have like this melody that they like stick to. Like Block Party went like the na na na. Like that's all of Block Party's song. Every single one of their songs. Like Blink does it too. You just take any 3-syllable word and you can fucking Blink 180 to it. But like there's a really noticeable, like the way that they write top line is really noticeable on and distinct on this album. And it carries through the entire thing. It feels incredibly cohesive. And it's like, why the fuck is this in the emo genre? It makes no goddamn sense to me.
I found Ass Fart.
You did play it. This is like what I listen to now.
Techno? Yeah, it's like Euro techno.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome.
Brutal Sex, Autobahn, Nasty Nate und Scheiße Sean. In the car, on the phone, find me in the Ripperbahn. Tiger, fuck me in the dark, werewolf style, cross my heart. Guten Morgen, hope to die. Here we go, 1, 2, 3.
I know how to do that.
We came to dance, but have scheiß in our pants. So would you take a chance to get shit on your hands.
It's so fucking good. Like you can't listen to it and be like, these guys aren't fucking awesome. Like if you do, you fucking have no sense of humor. You have no like I can't imagine going through life and being like, I don't like 303.
Yeah.
Like that's a crazy fucking person to me.
Totally. Sean and Nat, let's do some fast facts about the album and then about the guys. Here's the chart data. Number 44 on the Billboard 200. Number 2 on Billboard Top Dance and Electronic Albums. RIAA certified platinum.
Damn, they're diarrhea certified platinum.
Yep. And we talked about how we went on tour with them. Starstruck was re-released with Katy Perry. And then Sean and Nat, they are low-key incredible songwriters for other people. They have written hits for the likes of Kesha, Ariana Grande, Maroon 5, Steve Aoki, BTS, and so many more. These guys write a lot. They do a lot of sessions. They produce. They're out there, taking other people's music very seriously, even if they don't take their own very seriously.
What Maroon 5 song did they do? It was a huge one. It was a massive one. It was like one of the singles. It wasn't like just another track on a Maroon 5 album. Like Nat wrote a fucking...
Nat co-wrote and produced the song Love Somebody.
Isn't that a big one?
Maroon 5.
Isn't that a big one?
I don't know. I'm not a Maroon 5 fan.
That is, and I don't agree with this. Like I don't agree with this at all. But people like say that I look like that guy, and it's just like I think it's just the tattoos.
Yeah, I think it's because of the permanent Ed Hardy shirt.
Yeah, one day he just like decided to do that. Like he just like fucking decided to be like, I'm gonna be fucking cool guy now and take his shirt off and just be like, but it's music. It doesn't match. I never got Maroon 5. It wasn't
Me neither.
and I never got it. But like I never understood why people were like, you look like that guy. Because everybody has tattoos. Like everybody has fucking tattoos.
Yeah, I don't really see it.
I don't see it either.
Adam Levine.
I see the guy from
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. I see the guy from
Nirvana.
I do actually. There's some pictures of me where I have to like look back and be like, oh, I like you're scrolling and you're like, never saw that picture of. Oh, it's me. And when I had longer hair, Bert.
Mm-hmm.
I look a lot like Bert. I think that's it. But the Maroon 5 one really fucked me up.
Well, if you guys think Morgan looks like Adam Levine, let us know.
Dude, you're not going to tell on this podcast. I look chubby cheeks, cheesecake, fat face, fuck factory on this one. I look bad on these. All of the clips I see on them, I'm like, I look like shit. I can't look at this. I'm embarrassed to be alive. Why the fuck do you guys need video on an audio format?
All right. I have the actual CD, guys. We've been starting to get these CDs. Beautiful 303 packaging or print on the disc. They got sued. I don't know the outcome of the lawsuit, and I don't know if they're ever allowed to talk about it. I think they probably signed like a NDA when they settled. But the wrestler Diamond Dallas Page sued them for their hand symbol because he does the diamond, and they do the O.
Yeah, he also sued Jay-Z.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he sued Jay-Z, and they like settled like out of court for some fucked up amount of money.
There are no liner notes. Instead, you just open it up, and it says "Ancient Trash."
It's just the best, dude. It really is just so goddamn good.
This album was produced by Matt Squire and 303. So Matt Squire produced the majority of the album, except for the two big ones, tracks 3 and 8. Don't Trust Me and Starstruck, produced by Mr. Benny Blanco. It was recorded in Washington, D.C. or Maryland, and they put out these great little vlogs that are still on YouTube. They're so funny.
I didn't watch any of those. I'm gonna go back and do more homework on a thing that we already did.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, we haven't talked to anybody from the band yet, so I'm going to do that.
We are going to talk to the guys from the band about this album, what the recording process was like. It seemed like they had some fun while doing it. They did it in like a shitty basement in Maryland that flooded a lot. And, you know, they kept, I think, that bedroom pop sound, but they were working with Matt Squire. And Matt Squire's credits, Panic at the Disco, he did A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. He did Under Oath. He's done Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Kesha, One Direction, Sum 41, Simple Plan, All Time Low, Good Charlotte, Boys Like Girls, The Used, The Main.
So he just did it all.
He's done it all.
Did it all.
Matt Squire, quite the discography on this fellow.
Dude, and it's really like taking a step back. I mean, all those names, and then 303.
Yeah.
Is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to like, you know, I don't know, like those producers like that, like they don't have to take stuff. They don't have to be like, I want to do this. I think that anybody that like knows music or anybody that writes songs, you can't listen to this without going, these guys are good songwriters.
This sounds completely different than anything else on Matt Squire's discography. Like, this is like electropop. Like, he's playing with synths. You know, it's a lot of programming. Like, you know, it's way different than the Panic at the Disco record.
Did you want to know what else I just thought that like is not, people are going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Is that they're, in some way, they're so smart that like they also kind of remind me of like Arcade Fire. You know, Arcade Fire, or not Arcade Fire. What's the band that just put out an album? Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
They're like so smart that they like shouldn't really be playing music, but they're so good at it that they're doing it. It's really an interesting thing. I feel like these guys could be doing anything in the world.
Totally. They're both handsome as hell, super smart,
That was another lie that I was
incredibly
going to tell you.
talented, voted handsomest
Like,
man
well,
in
was it
Boulder.
voted handsomest voted? I was going to say like
That would have been the vote one. You could have done voted handsomest man and then is the tallest man.
You can
Then I would have believed you.
Dude, you can have a vote to be the tallest man.
You can't have a vote.
Yes,
It's
you
a
can.
measurement.
It's a subjective.
I don't think so.
You could stand me next to Nat, and if 100 people voted for me, if there are 100 people and 100 people voted for me, I would be the tallest man next to Nat.
It's not how tallness works, unfortunately.
That's how voting works. Fucking.
I guess so. I
That-
guess you're right. You got me there.
He's so goddamn tall. He's like 6'8".
Yeah. When we toured with them, we had to get 2 buses because they're both so tall they can't just like fit in the bunks. They each need the back lounge.
Nat's baby is like 1 or 2 or something right now, and he sent me a picture of her, and I was like, that baby could kick my ass right now. I was like, that
She's
baby.
tall?
Yeah, I was like, that baby could fuck me up right now.
We talked about Matt Squire. We didn't talk about Benny Blanco. If you guys don't know who Benny Blanco is, go ahead and look up his credits. He's probably the biggest pop producer of the last 20 years. Huge writer and producer.
Yeah, him and like Max
Martin.
Max Martin.
Yeah, and Dr. Luke. But
those 3.
dude, like the songwriting, the songs that Benny Blanco has written: "Teenage Dream" by Katy Perry, "California Girls," "Moves Like Jagger," "TikTok" by Kesha, "Dynamite" by Tayo Cruz. Like songs that are played all over the place, infinity times. Like the biggest songs in the world, Benny Blanco.
Hold on a second. I think it's actually wild because there is an album. Hold on, let me see if he was part of this because I want to make sure that I get this right. Okay, so I found it. That was a long time. TJ is gonna fucking edit it, and Benny Blanco was part of this this group called Bangers and Cash, and is that Loose?
Booty.
No, dude, Loose is like one of my all-time favorite songs, and I didn't know anything about this style. I don't know how this CD ended up in my car because it wasn't something that I normally listen to, but I loved it. It was like a 5-song or 6-song EP, and every song is so fucking dirty, but so good. And it's like not well known. It's not like a well known thing.
I'm gonna have to listen to this on the way home.
Dude, it's awesome. Like Loose is one of my favorite songs. Anyway, so Benny Blanco fucking, I didn't know, I forgot that he was part of that and he produced. It makes so much sense. If you listen to that album, Bangers and Cash, and then you listen to 303, lyrically and it makes sense why Benny Blanco stepped in and was like, I'm gonna fucking rock with these guys. It makes so much fucking sense.
I'll have to listen.
Yeah, if you guys listen to that album.
Well, that's perfect for if you like this, you might like that. Because I only had The Faint.
Faint's good. Yeah, no, that's good. I tried to do something new for you guys. And I put this, I've been listening to a couple songs by this artist, Barely Human.
Oh, yeah. Sixarily Human.
Yeah, it starts with like a 6. Like, I don't know anything about him. It came up on my like fucking
Yeah, they're definitely bringing back that like electropop scene sound that like the Millionaires, 303, like MySpace sound.
Yeah, I just don't want everybody to be like, you're a fucking idiot. We all know who he is.
Jeffree Star.
Yeah, like I don't want to, but like I found it and I was like, this is all like this. I didn't know what they look like, and then I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking nuts.
It's pretty wild.
It looks like 2007 MySpace shit, like for real, and it's cool. Like it. So if you guys haven't listened to, that's what I'm gonna say. And the Spank Rock album.
What are your standout tracks?
Every one of them.
If you had to pick, for me, Punk Bitch, such a good way to start this album.
I think let me do the opposite of you. I'm gonna go the last song.
Oh, really?
On it. Yeah.
I think it's Colorado Sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the song that melody got stuck in my head for months after we went on tour with them.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these melodies got stuck in my head. There's like little pre-choruses before the choruses that are, to me, just as catchy.
Yeah, between the melodies of the lyrics, there's also these fucking little synth hooks all over the place that just grab you and just get stuck in your ear. Like, like the amount of times that I hear that throughout the day.
Choke chain?
Yeah.
Got a shock collar for my Rottweiler?
Yeah.
This should be in the fucking... this should be the Bible.
Sean is a poet. It's brilliant.
That should shock collar, they should erase the Declaration of Independence and put the lyrics to shock collar on it.
When we talked to Sean, I just want to ask what it felt like after he wrote I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. Like, that has to be a moment where you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, or he's just like, I did it.
He's like, that's it.
I did it.
Yep.
Done. Like
you have to just be freaking the fuck out. Like, how did that happen and what did it feel like?
There's not too many lines in history of this era that are so prolific and iconic.
Prolific means like they put out a lot of music.
This is the podcast of misinformation.
But iconic is a good word. Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most iconic lines ever of pop music. Like, it's just a brilliantly written verse. Like, it's a piece of literature. Tell your boyfriend, if he says he's got beef, that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him. Like, that's insane.
I'm telling you, rip down everything that we have from history and just replace it with 303 lyrics. When I pledge allegiance to the flag, I want to go, tell your boyfriend if he has got beef that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him, and then I will sit back down in my seat and not pay attention in class.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of CD Burners. We got a great interview with Sean and Nat coming up. It was great catching up with our boys. I'm sure we haven't done the interview yet, but I'm sure that it was great.
It's gonna be they're impossible to interview because they just tell jokes.
It's really actually like kind of intimidating because they're so smart and they're just quick. And then they say something and like for me, I'm like too slow to pick up on the joke. And I like to think of myself as a pretty funny and witty person, but they're just next level.
And it's so quick. It's like the moment they say you see them, like if we haven't seen them in a while, Nat'll come up to me and just like whisper like a word in my ear. You know how we're talking? We did the Say Us In album before this. If you guys aren't going in order, we did Say Us In. If you're watching these out of order, we did Say Us In right before this. And we're talking a little bit about how like they had their inside jokes that to me made me feel distant, like I wasn't a part of, like I wasn't involved, like that crew, like that. And if you didn't know that, you know that Nat and Sean involve everybody in their inside jokes.
You're so right. Yeah, you're so right. And that's like why I think people connected with him so much, because like we all felt like we were in on the joke with them. With those music videos, with just how they like didn't take it seriously. Like if you wanted to understand it and be a part of 303, like you could be.
I don't know. I literally don't know one person that doesn't like them. I cannot. And if you don't like them, I kind of don't like you. We don't have the same values on anything.
I will stand with you on that one.
Well, anyway, thanks for listening, assholes.
Why do you keep calling them assholes?
Has anybody commented anything bad about me yet?
No.
Oh, then I'm sorry. You're not assholes. Until you guys comment something bad about me.
The only comments are like, I want to smash the first guy.
No, that's not. They're looking at you. That cannot be looking at me.
You were the first guy.
I look like total fucking shit on these things.
No.
I can't watch the clips.
All right. Goodbye, Bernie, Max.
I really do like you guys.
You got to love the burners.
I do really like you guys. When I call you assholes, I'm not. Only if you are being an asshole.
That's fair.
Goodbye, assholes.
Locked in. Guys, welcome to the studio.
The bunker.
Hey.
You guys are our first like in-person guests on CD Burners.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
No one else came.
no, you hit us up and you're like, Morgan was like, "Hey, I want you guys to come and see this swanky studio that we work in now."
That Will Smith owns.
Yeah,
That is true. Yeah, both of those things are true.
we're very impressed.
All right, now we can leave.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
That's it?
That's it. I just wanted you guys to see this, and then now
Do
you
you want us
can
to
go.
record a promo or something for the pod?
No,
or
nothing.
Just fuck off.
Yeah, that's it. We're good.
Okay, that's cool. All right, see ya.
Welcome 303 to CD Burners. It's hard to interview you guys because you're our friends. I
Yeah.
also don't know who to look at. It's hard to interview you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I find it much more difficult to talk to people that I know and like.
Well, we've already said everything there is to say to each other. You know.
We didn't save any of it for the pod.
No, we spent a whole couple months on a bus together. I
Yeah,
wish that
that's
we
true.
would have.
You know everything about me.
Inside and out.
All right, I'm gonna try and do my best.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best.
You do a great job, man.
I know.
We also really had a difficult time reviewing or deep diving into Want because we listened to it every night for a month and a half
Yeah,
on tour.
it's true.
But we're
That's
also
right.
yeah, we're also just, we had to keep reminding each other like don't gas them up too much
Oh, you
because
guys are
it's
sweet.
it's such a good album.
It was the one where I was like, every song is good. All of this is good. It was a hard one to do because it did something that wasn't happening at the time. And hearing those songs every single night. I remember texting you after we did the tour and saying you should make an acoustic album
I know.
because I was listening to it after we got home and I was like, this is beautiful. I was like,
Oh,
it's like
thanks,
a beautiful
buddy.
album.
I can't believe you
It's
can
called
say that
Stockholm
after,
Syndrome.
Yeah, after 6 weeks, 7 weeks of hearing the same shit every night. No, thank you, man. I distinctly remember it, and I've always thought about doing it. We're just lazy, I guess.
I kind of want to, I think the biggest thing about this podcast and what we're trying to do, I'm trying to be serious. It's so hard. This is so hard. But, I kind of want to give people a look into what that time was like for you guys. Not like, it's not really going over like every song on the album, and we can talk about a lot of the songs on the album if you want, but really what it was like for you guys at that time when this album came out.
It was interesting, man. I don't know. I guess on the whole, our pathway into music that was kind of materializing at that time was so incongruous and not like a lot of other bands that we know and stuff. And I think that was pretty beautiful and pretty crazy. Like we met at the University of Colorado, and we were both from Boulder, Colorado, had gone to different high schools, but kind of bonded over music at the university, and then really just started making music for the fun of it, man. And like started making music to fuck around and have fun and be creative, and as kind of our, a visceral reaction to some of like the underground hip hop scene that we were super into. That was pretty, I don't know, it was pretty incestuous. It was pretty close, and it was pretty close to like outside music and stuff. And we both grew up on so many different kinds of music, so it was just, I don't know. Making music at that point for us, I think we didn't think it's. So I think sometimes like you have to let things percolate for years before you realize like what was going on. I think we've done that a bit, and we've come up with like, at that time it was first thought, best thought. It was like we didn't do too much drafting.
That's kind of what I want to stay there. I want to stay there where it's like, we were talking about an album that we had just, we're not going to talk about it, but like that, like how to really make that, how to explain to everybody like what that time was like for you guys. Not necessarily about you guys and like how you met, but the making of that album, like the things that people would never, things you haven't like talked about in an interview before about that album, that time period, that specific moment in music. Like I've listened to so many fucking podcasts and I've been on so many where people are like, how'd you guys meet? How did Emo Night start? I'm sure you guys have done like the How did 303 start?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You probably never. How'd you guys get these pillows made, man?
Oh, these are Zazzle.com.
Okay, cool. No one's asked you that, right?
Nobody's been here.
Okay, that's
You're
true.
the first
right.
people that have been here.
I thought it was green screen before this. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm trying to think like in terms of where honestly all I can think about, because it's all like it's kind of revisionist history. Like I feel like there are the stories that we've kind of rehashed and told probably a million times, but it is, I think for us, especially that moment was twofold. Like Nat said, it was like we were part of this underground hip hop scene that was we loved, because growing up in Colorado, especially in Boulder where University of Colorado is, it was like there was this radio station called Basementalism, and they would bring in shows, and it was really cool because it would bring in artists that I guess necessarily they might hit like Denver or something, but like whether it's like Atmosphere, Sage Francis, like Jurassic 5, Black Alicious, like all these types of just like a lot of the hip hop that we liked. And it's funny because Nat says like, yeah, we went to different high schools. I'm not sure if Nat knew who I was, but I'd always be like standing behind him at a show. Like I definitely knew him. Like he's
You should have been
6'8".
standing behind me. Yeah.
I know.
Wait,
Well,
so you knew who Nat was.
You recognize
just-
him from
That
shows.
is, it's a small. Boulder's small in the sense of there only is like two big high schools, really. He went to Boulder. I went to Fairview. At the end of the day, especially, he's like 6'8", and also I really loved public access television. Like there's Channel 54. I don't know if it's still there anymore. I don't even know if there's
Scott.
channels anymore. There was shows. I was like before like the Tim and Eric era, any of this like sort of like glorification of just the awkwardness of public access. I was obsessed with public access television. So I was on it all the time, and Boulder High had a station called Panther TV, and they give the students like free access to make content for this channel. And it was always so good because it was just, especially like, pre-iPhone, it was like, it was just wild stuff of like high school kids. And also there was like talk shows. This guy, Jan Scott, who would literally get prank called and had no patience. Like like people would be like, Jan Scott, I was just with your mother last night. And he'd be like, oh, come over there and kill you. And it's this guy, like,
Yeah,
I was just,
people are calling like, hey, Jan, big fan, long time listener, first time caller, and it's interesting because I fucked your mother last night, Jan. He's like, oh yeah,
yeah, well, he would
So
pay.
he's getting jerky boyed.
Yeah, but he would like go back
Live.
crazy, like tenfold. Anyways, it's just great. And I remember I was watching Panther TV, and I mean, I was into like very like Buck 65, this very like specific underground hip hop scene, and there was someone like out of all the little Panther TV videos, there was someone scratching.
Well, I remember I did a slow motion video of, we were just talking off air about the crab scratch.
Oh yeah, because you guys went to
you
DJ school, and
learned that.
surely you know what a crab scratch
obviously,
is.
I know all about it.
Yeah,
Obviously.
you mastered it.
Oh, God.
Double click flare,
Yeah,
crab
dude.
scratch.
That was like, I knew that before.
Yeah,
going
yeah,
in.
for sure.
The invisible scratch pickles, you know that.
Wait, so what were you saying?
So I did a slow motion video of like of like a fader, a DJ fader, and a crab scratch, which is it kind of looked cool. But so to this Buck 65 song,
Yeah.
this kind of underground artist that we both loved, and Sean saw it on. We had a really dope video production program actually at school, which
Wait, so you got that video that you made?
for like a school project they would air on the TV. Yeah.
So I saw that, like, preceding me going to see you, anything, and I don't know, your face wasn't in it, I don't think.
No, my dick was behind the behind the fader.
Yeah.
Now we're crab scratching.
I remember that guy's dick from that show.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't not
How did
remember
we
that
already
guy's
go
dick.
there?
So small.
All right.
Can you crab scratch with dick?
Yeah, if you got crabs.
Perfect.
So yeah, I
Can you?
recognize that.
Probably.
I don't know, because I don't think your face was in it, but
No.
you had another video, I think that was you running through a parking garage.
We
with
did
the-
11:34. Yeah, it was sick. We had.
I remember, like, honestly, I remember this more clearly than like any shows that we've done or anything. I just was obsessed with it, like public access in a weird way. So when I went to see you, and that is the part that we probably told over and over
CU
where we
is
met.
the letters CU, Colorado University,
Yeah.
not to see me.
Oh no, I already kind of knew that Nat was into the. I don't think he was aware of me at all, but I knew he was in.
No, I saw you. I saw you. I saw you freestyle battle your brother at the Players Club.
Oh, you were at that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There was a freestyle battle, and I think in one of the elimination rounds, or maybe in the final, Sean freestyle battled his brother, and they were like
Which is
talking about
hard.
their mom and how they're
Yeah.
like one of. I think he called you a living abortion or something. It was horrible.
How have you guys
Battles
not
were-
talked about this? How have you guys not?
I didn't know you were up the. I thought you went to Two Loggies when I did Two Loggies.
Oh,
which is
maybe that
another
was it.
venue.
But you battled Spencer,
But it, weirdly enough, yeah, because
and
you
then
know
Preston.
this is how it's all murky. I mean, but yes, these are all things in a small. It's a small-ish. It's still a kind of big town, but especially when you're into like the same little like. It's funny because I'm sure we're all talking about like emo and like the scene, but ours was underground hip hop, and that's how it started. And then I think, I mean, I'll speak for my side of it. Is like my older brother was in a very much hardcore scene band called Grayscale at the time, and I started getting very into like. I remember I went to a show in Colorado Springs, and it was Thursday, Coheed and Cambria, and who else was on that one? I don't know. It was like that was enough, but in between the actual sets was just like the house music, and it was like Lil Jon. And it was like from the window to the wall, and everyone in that entire place was doing that, like singing the actual lyrics more, like it was so audible. And I remember just like thinking in that moment, at least with 303, like the stuff we were kind of producing, I'm like, maybe we can play like some of the scene stuff. Like I know we kind of like jumped into some of the hardcore shows, and we were always odd ones out. Like we did a hardcore festival in New York, and it was very hardcore bands, like in a warehouse. And we were doing like Choke Chain, and I just felt like we were just like, we have to like literally make ourselves
No,
bleed.
was it? It was in the basement of like a Olive Garden or something.
In New York, when
Yeah.
I ate McDonald's and might
You
have.
shit your pants.
Wait, so
He did.
yeah, I mean,
That's not the first nor the last.
and when I came to California the first time with like a band that I was in, to try and get signed by Drive Thru Records, the singer he diarrheaed his pants like while driving. He didn't stop. He just diarrheaed his pants.
And you got to make the show.
Well, it was on the way back. It was on the way back, but it was the first time I've ever seen somebody shit their pants.
A grown ass person.
Yeah, but he didn't even stop. He was just like, I have to go. You know, you reach that point where you're like sweaty.
Did it smell?
Yeah, it's terrible. It was one of the worst. It was the worst.
Did you guys get signed?
No, you want to know? We got something. Richard from Drive Thru was like, "You guys are great. You guys are great. You're up against this other band," and he showed us. He was like, "Do you guys want to hear it?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And something corporate, and so they made a good decision, you know. But
no,
sorry.
It's okay.
Did you like that? Wait, I have two. Is this two things? Because
that was the question. Did you like that?
Did you?
Did you like that story?
Wait, what do you think of me? Did you when you went to that Thursday show? Were you like did you like that, or were you like, I don't like this? Now we're podcasting.
now we're doing
This
it.
is
So
genius.
I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself because I do think that at least when I'm talking about like scene band, I don't know. You can probably speak for yourself on this, but like my senior year, I had this like I was very into like Saves the Day and weirdly enough like System of a Down. I had a minivan at the time, and I would pull in almost every day to my high school with the windows rolled down to System of a Down because I thought that was literally the heaviest, coolest thing I've ever like. Toxicity. I was just like, no one's going to
Should move to
deny.
Glendale, man.
I mean, it's a bop. It's still to this day. I think it's amazing. I think it's so good. I think I actually hit it right. Saves the Day, and then like college. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing we relate on a lot. Is like a lot like whether it's like Elliott Smith or like sort of stuff that's like across the board. But like the I guess for me, like whether it was like Fall Out Boy and then Panic at the Disco, that's another branch off because there's part of the reason why, I mean, at least why Matt Squire, like why we sort of worked with him is just like, I was such a huge fan of like those types of albums. There was like this idea of guilty pleasure at the time. I have no semblance of that. I feel like I listened to a lot of stuff across the board, whether it's like All American Rejects, Panic at the Disco, and I just like, I like literally High School Musical. Like I love all those songs. Like when I was in college, I was like, I love this. There was no set like across the board from Elliott Smith to that to a lot of the stuff that we bonded on. And I think that just kind of like came into play when we were making music was like, there's nothing really when we're writing lyrics. It could be as hard as like a Lil Jon lyric to all the way as just like sort of, I don't know, emo as like a Brandon Urie or like something like that, you know?
Well, I think you can definitely feel that on Want. Like, there's a whole breadth of emotions, you know.
We
from
both
like,
just got dumped too, like not too long before. So we
Both
got
of
all
you?
Yes, literally at
go.
the same time.
So
Let's go.
I guess I kind of wanted to ask, like, okay, so you guys met in college. You start making goofy songs. I heard the Dungeons and Dragons song.
Yeah.
You guys are just, it was first thought, best thought.
Yeah.
You're having a good time doing it. And then this album, Want, you guys recorded it in Maryland with Matt Squire.
Beltsville.
How did that all come to be? Like, what you mentioned you were a fan of his previous production work, but like, what brought you out of Boulder over to Maryland to work with this guy, and what was sort of the whole process of getting there?
I mean, it was interesting, man, because it was just like I said, it was a hobby, and it was at it was in the MySpace era, so Sean would be on lunch break from our college classes and be in the library like serially adding as many people as we could, and for us it was just that hobby that Gabe is here, our manager now, and he was like the first industry person to really show us love or know about us, because we were doing shows in Colorado and like selling out our local venues and stuff, and he had a band that was touring through Denver and needed to fill a date, and like so found out about us, and it kind of brought us out to LA. We hooked up with our previous manager, Mike Kaminsky, and Mike had the relationship with Matt Squire, Matt Galley, who runs Photo Finish Records, who we were signed to for a long time. And I think, yeah, it was so crazy because I remember like finally lining it up, and we went out to Beltsville and did a couple demos before we went back there and recorded the record. And I remember, I think we had like 3 weeks to do the record. And so we were like writing like crazy. And then we were out there recording the record. And I remember Matt Squire being like, "Oh, this song's cool. This could be your second single." And I was like, "What the fuck is a single?" I was like, because I would DJ. Like that's what was my gateway into producing music and producing our music, was that I was like a hip hop DJ, like a scratch DJ. And that I started recording that and stuff. And I just remember being like, "Oh yeah, like singles come with an instrumental and an acapella, so you can like mix them and they're cheaper." So that's why people like it. I literally didn't know that like a single was a flag bearer for your project, and like that's what you invested kind of your money and your promotion into and all that shit. And so I think it was just like, it was pretty pure and super innocent in that we didn't know. It's like all of a sudden I think the opportunity presented itself to go out and work in a professional studio with Matt and like augment the music that we were producing and a real engineer and a real studio. And we're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And when we recorded this stuff, also there was zero pressure. There was no like, we were just thinking that it would be some homies of ours and some people on MySpace who would listen to the music. And
Right.
And that was so, in retrospect, so liberating and so awesome.
So it was like the vlog content that you guys were making at the time, very funny, really great. It looked to me like it was just this like dilapidated house. But you're saying it was like a very professional studio.
No.
He like dropped like a Neve board into like this shed. And it was like the studio itself was great.
He had a big ass, almost like a boat garage that he converted into like a legit studio. Sick, like live room, an SSL, like a huge board, tons of gear, awesome. And then the house was a house. The house was
a house.
It did.
Did you guys live there? You lived in the house?
Yeah, it was super nice. Like he let us crash there in the house, which is amazing. There was like a big open.
So you have jacked it. In
There
Matt
was-
Squire's
yeah,
house.
yeah.
You have jacked it
there
in
was
Matt Squire's
a
house.
so
We haven't not jacked it.
which is super
Where-
nice. It's let me just say this, Matt Squire, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's above and beyond for a producer to let
Yeah,
you
it's
stay
amazing.
at their house.
It's amazing.
I will say, like, we're staying there in Beltsville. I think there was a flooding incident when there was like a lot of rain, and this is so super fair, by the way, as we're young, we're figuring this out. It's flooding, and we're like,
Hey, Matt,
let's go up and stay in the
could we
upstairs.
possibly stay upstairs? He was not living in the house, and so the upstairs was vacant. And we're like, "Hey, man, sorry, tonight could we maybe like sleep upstairs because there's like 2 inches of water all downstairs, and it's like it's kind of like wading through a lake to get to the bed."
And he was like, hell no, that's not my spot, that's our spot. And so
We got a hotel at the Ramada.
Yeah, you got to.
yeah, we roughed
The
it.
Rabada?
That's Sean put that
No,
twang
I
on.
think Ramada is what it
Ramada.
is. Yeah.
we like to call it.
You like how TJ automatically switched it to talking about stuff that has stuff to
Practical,
do with this, and I'm like,
Substantive.
like some guy shit his pants.
Yeah. Both very important avenues, by the way.
We're trying to give you the off the cuff answers.
Yeah, well, I remember were you guys excited, or were you guys like, this is
Super excited.
like the
Sad, excited.
I think so there's a lot of things going on because I told Nat this. I was going through like, I don't know what I was looking for. I went through like very old emails, and Nat was in France pretty early on. Like you did a year.
I was doing a gap year, yeah. So I'm half French, and so I would go there every summer, but I'd never lived out there. So I finished school, took a gap year, and was applying to med school.
Yeah.
But then was like doing a teacher assistantship thing in Paris, and so I would come home every 5 or 6 weeks because we'd sell out a local show, and it would like pay for my trip, and I'd be stoked to come back and see. But
what venues were you what venues at the time were you playing?
Well, the Marquee was probably the only one that
the Marquee, then we played the Gothic, I think, in Denver. We'd play the Fox Theater in Boulder.
We did the Fillmore. We opened for Snoop Dogg, which was funny because we were playing Magic cards in the dressing room, and I think he walked into our dressing room and just literally turned around and
What's going on here?
that's when Gabe brought us out. We played Ventura with Bone Thugs, and that was maybe the scariest show we ever played.
I was gonna ask you because you guys are fun and funny. Like you guys are you. I've known you for a long time. You don't think you've ever. It's kind of who you are,
Yeah.
and you've had to play with some pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean, this was also back in the day where we were, I mean, I was kind of, I think we were a bit oblivious us, but like people on our team and Gabe and Mike were like trying to find out where our avenue was, because I think part of what allowed us to do what we've done is like that we don't necessarily have a super strict avenue, but we did end up fitting kind of in the scene tangentially or in it or whatever. But before that, like we were doing, we did like a pretty true like hip hop rap show in Ventura, and it was sick because like it was gnarly. There was an opening band from Ventura that had to sell tickets to get onto the show, getting booed throughout their entire performance. So they were playing, and then we were main support, and then Bone Thugs, and we're just sitting there backstage like shitting ourselves like fuck. And these guys, at one point I remember the dude, the rapper from the band, goes like, man, fuck all y'all, I'm out. Slams the mic down, and then the venue stage manager comes back. He's like, dude, you have 20 minutes. Get back out there and finish your set.
Oh my God.
Comes back out, finish the set. Like booze so loud you can't even hear the PA. Like,
We're after that.
And so I was like, Sean,
Jeez.
we're gonna keep it tight. We're gonna hit them with 30 minutes with 0 breaks. We're not gonna talk.
We're doing our
Basically,
dance moves.
We're just gonna try to get it. Yeah, we had like coordinated, like choreographed, like horrible dance moves. And I was like, man, we're just gonna get it to hopefully where these people don't know what hit them, and then we'll be gone. And then if they like it, they like it. So, sick, whatever. And at one point, I remember Sean saying that like he was like, he looked out and we were doing our thing like kind of frenetic. At that point, it was just crazy frenetic energy. And Sean looked out and he's like, oh man, they're digging it, because like someone's giving them the thumbs up. It's like, oh yeah, hell yeah, someone's digging it. And then he like walked further on the stage, got some perspective, and saw that someone was just giving them shooting him.
I was like, let's speed it up. And we went off stage, and I think it was Busy Bone.
Crazy Bone.
Oh, it was Crazy Bone. Yeah, he walked down the steps, and he just looked at me. He goes, "That's some crazy shit, man. That was weird as hell. I liked it." And I was like, I 100% take that as a compliment.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like that was the nature of, like, I feel like we had, because we would do like, I don't know if you remember like Cobra Snake and
yeah, dude, I just shot a fucking thing for something I did.
So we were like, it was funny because I think there was like, I mean, it's speaking of the time, it feels like kind of old head now, but it's like there was such a dichotomy between really like hipster cool culture
stuff,
and then pop music and like, I mean, even scene stuff. So it was like very split. It was not nowadays where it's like you can be kind of all or spectrum of it. It's like if you're doing Coachella, you have to be really cool, or you're like doing Warped Tour stuff, or you're doing straight pop stuff. I remember even like, because Katy Perry, like when we did Warped Tour, like that was our first Warped Tour and she was like blowing up. It wasn't necessarily like cool. Like no one could really wrap their head around like listening to something that was so pop and straightforward, but also being like, I'm into Bon Iver and like Radiohead. It was like, you just couldn't wear all those hats for some reason. I don't know why. So it was like we were really trying to see what was, because we would do these like hipster events out here, and like it was like, oh, are we Mickey Avalon? Are we like, because I think one of our first shows here, we played the Roxy, and it was us, Shwazy, LMFAO, and Hypercrush.
Yeah.
Which, like, obviously, like LMFAO, just like Stratosphere after that and all this stuff, and like even knowing like Shwazy and Hypercrush and all, it's actually like a pretty well thought out, like when you look back retrospectively, it was like, oh, someone really curated that pretty well, because kind of came from the same spirit. It was like party music, sort of like inclusive, like obviously rap, electronic, pop, all these things. But at the time, I think people were like really trying to wrap their head around like, is this cool? Is this straight pop?
Does it suck?
Does it suck?
Good?
I know, and that's the kind, like Warped Tour I felt was like such a stress ball in a sense, as is many of our shows early on, because like nothing quite, like until we like sort of toured with like people like Cobra and stuff like that, I don't think anything really felt like it fit what
but
we
again,
were.
that was perfect for us. And Warped Tour has provided such a launching pad for a lot of people where
Now, yeah,
I think
we think about that.
Yeah, and we're able to. No, I remember even thinking at the time, it's like, all right, we're not a chugga band. Not to say that that's whack or whatever, but like we were just two dudes playing music off a CDJ, doing stupid
I know,
dances.
but coming after Bring
like-
Me the Horizon, how many times
Right.
were we like,
Yeah.
are we supposed to be on this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
dude,
you
you
know
guys-
what? Like people would show up, they'd be smiling, they'd be stoked,
Yeah.
and that was like a reason for doing our shit. It's just,
Yeah.
I think it was very much a reaction against that closed-minded kind of, again, that the underground hip hop mentality in Boulder was sick because it was a scene and we saw great shows and all that stuff. But a lot of people in it, like my DJ friends and stuff, would be like, "Oh no, that's whack. They don't. That guy doesn't even rhyme when he raps, or like it's too pop. It's
No, his
too,
hands crossed.
everything."
Yeah,
and
it's like all
just
about being cool.
Yeah, fuck that,
Yeah.
man. For us, it was we really created our music as a. That was one thing that we did that I did, and I know you did too. We really did think about that a lot, and that was the vibe of our music. Like we wanted to make music that was fun to listen to, fun to dance to, fun to make, fun really for our friends to be at a house party, like doing dumb shit. To,
Yeah,
having
I
fun.
mean, we'd see it like some of the acts that we'd see, and we left, and we're like, I remember just like, well, Sage Francis was one because he was a rapper, but he would be on stage. It was like a Broadway one-man performance. He'd have he'd have an iPod up there, which we did early on, and the music would keep running and stuff. But it would be this whole show. He'd like literally have costume changes. He'd have like these musical breaks, and you'd leave there being like, this guy just did everything.
Yeah.
He did everything, and we're like, that's cool. The Faint, which were obviously like very cool, but like when you see that show, it's just like it's undeniable.
physical
Dance, physical, visceral. I think of like what is it, Ninja and Yolandi or whatever,
Yeah.
like that,
Die
like
Antwoord.
Die
Yeah.
Antwoord,
Yeah.
like, and even like I remember seeing like, I think like These Arms Are Snakes or whatever, and the dude was like literally like climbing, like going underneath the like just like it's like a playground. He's like climbing the sky, and I'm just like, that's cool. I was like, I just like seeing any show where you leave there and you go, it doesn't even like the music is certainly part of it, but I was like the visual, because our first shows was like stand up. We'd do shows and we would reform our music by the basis of it was the opposite. It wasn't like, oh, we have a song, let's play this out. It's like,
we have
let's
30 minutes.
workshop
We only
this.
have 3 songs.
It's like let's
write.
read the crowd and
yeah,
No,
we've
well,
literally
yeah.
shortened and changed sections from how the crowd responded. Like that, it was the opposite.
Yeah, for sure. It was like compared to some other bands. Again, it's a different method, but like it was much more based on the live show and the performance. And for us, I think it's still again, this is something that we've come to realize recently, but it stays this way. Is that it's less of a performance. It's more about a party. It's more about a collective. It's more about, as you guys know, man.
Yeah.
It's like bringing people on stage or just making people feel included and making them have fun.
was it? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, was it hard to do that, being surrounded by all of the harder acts? Did you feel out of place? Did you ever feel like
No,
were you
no.
uncomfortable?
Not really. No, not besides. I mean, that was, that time in Ventura was a little tough, and then there were like a couple times, but like I think we just have a sense of ourselves, and
I
like
think Warped Tour in particular. Did you ever feel?
no,
There was only one band that ever really made it a point to, and they went out on a few. Gallows was like the singer, but what's funny is the guitar player would play. He
Yeah.
literally played with us, and we'd play shows in the UK, whatever, and he came and played with us. But that was I think I feared more than I actually like the reality of it, because it was more like, I always say it's like, I think it's Tom Sawyer, right, where he like convinces everyone to paint the fence in a way. We had the first Huck Finn, I don't know, whatever.
Tom
one of those-
Sawyer, like the song
The
by the
Rush
Canadian
song?
band,
Yeah, the Rush song.
Who, by the way, just did a podcast on this. He didn't write his own lyrics. Somebody else in the band wrote
I
those
wrote
lyrics.
it. I wrote
Getty?
it.
Getty didn't write his lyrics.
The first Warped Tour was the one I was talking about with like Katy Perry and stuff. It's like
Catherine.
Catherine Perry,
Hudson.
Catherine
Hudson.
Hudson. Yeah, that's like Katie Hudson. Her whole band played with us. That's how we met. Our longtime like BFF stage manager. He was a stage manager at the time. We called him BFF because Brian Firefingers. He'd act like he had a DJ case. Speaking of DJ school, he had a DJ
Yeah,
case.
they don't teach you this shit at school now.
And we just hold our cell phones in there, and he'd just like
we put
be
our
in
cell
there.
phone wallet and keys, and he would just be adjusting the cell phone wallet. And he was a stage manager. Like his job was to like pack up the stage and work all day, and then they would just come and rock with us.
Yeah,
Like,
we had a band, a DJ dancing. People dancing up there
DC,
with us.
yeah.
No one paid. This is because everyone just wanted to come and party, and I think that was hopefully like that's what we were trying to bring to all of it. And I think, you know, it is hard because like the first time we went to the UK, like I remember reading about like Panic at the Disco getting bottled off like Reading and Leeds, and we got kind of ripped by Kerrang. I think we got like the only 0 out of 5 that they ever gave, which is actually super tight.
No, it's
That's
awesome.
amazing,
We
yeah.
gotta find it.
Yeah, you should.
I should frame like
Yeah, you
all the
gotta-
like but I just remember being like, I mean, you're young, you're just thinking about all this stuff, and then we go to Reading and Leeds, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like literally one of the best shows we ever played ever. And I just think like, I think reality versus that's the thing is you're just like, especially with it was like the advent of like Twitter and social media, you're really seeing everything. Whereas like, I think before that, you're kind of just in your bubble world where I'm reading literally the one person who hates us at a show. And yeah, I am sensitive to that. But I think in the big scheme of it, it's like we were really, really enjoying ourselves, and everyone at the show was just having a great time, including the people behind the scenes. And that's
I think our overt mantra about being like, listen, let's drop all pretenses of being cool. Like we want to make music that we think is fun and stuff, but like we don't dress cool. In point of fact, like we were wearing like wolf shirts and like trying to dress a little bit.
I got
uncool
worse
and
dressed
weird.
and Rolling Stone
That's
or whatever
true.
for the
Woodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wore a
Which is
sweater.
cool.
That was sick.
It's really bad actually when I look back.
But
at
yeah,
it.
you know, we were very overtly trying to not project a cool image and trying to you know, break walls down and stuff. And I think the kind of the cool thing about that, one of the cool things about that for us is that like we don't really gotta to pretend to be too much. I mean, we get to wear hats in our songs, and we get to write things from different perspectives. And on stage, for sure, you're playing a role in a certain sense. Every performer is, and you're playing kind of an extrapolation of yourself or a very overt version of something else, whatever. But it's also like we don't have to. There's no shroud, and there's no anything. So it's liberating in that, like, you know, yeah, we're on Warped Tour and there's heavy bands. Yeah, we're on, you know, a metal festival. So sometimes we'd play the hip hop festivals and stuff, and it's always just like, yeah, people like it, sick, and if they don't, that's okay too.
It is kind of awesome because, I mean, there were a couple people on the 303 tour that like followed us. They came to and like you guys have diehard fans.
Yeah.
You have diehard fans. I know a lot of diehard 303 fans. I mean,
Me.
I am too. I really am. I'm a
Thank you guys.
But what I think that, you know, you guys did something that wasn't being done in that scene, and I think that is really, really, really important. And now looking back, the only other artist that is doing anything or broke into a thing where they may not fit into is 100 Gex.
Yeah.
Like you guys were, in my opinion, you did that first.
Yeah, we were saying like 100 Gex, they can open for Phoebe Bridgers, but you could also put them like with Knocked Loose, and it works.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something there. I think there's definitely some
It's interesting,
similarities
man.
there.
Yeah, we've worked with those folks, and they're, you know, we're super flattered. Benny, our good friend Benny Blanco, who we worked on our first record, a couple songs on our first couple records with, actually hit us, you know, told us back in the day that they cited us as an influence, which was, I mean, that's another thing. It's like that's amazing. It's amazing. We're talking about Want and where we were mentally and spiritually and whatever, like in our lives as we were creating Want. Like never would we have thought that we would have influenced anybody else, literally like anybody else really, to make music. Like we were making music, like I said, for our homies, for maybe some people on MySpace. But the idea that like other people might like our stuff and use that as inspiration for their stuff is still amazing.
Yeah,
I
and something, just because I don't think Nat will say it, but I think on the production tip, like the stuff that he was doing and automating, because the reason, I mean, we started on like Acid 2.0, like pirated just recording program, but then Nat got into Reason in a way that I feel like,
I pirated that too.
well, yeah, I think it was pirated for sure. But I think like the synth automation that Nat was doing is heard on, so like whether it's like literally Miley Cyrus, like Party in the USA, like it went from that to Dr. Luke and all this stuff, and like it literally is a sound that I know that he created.
That's awesome.
No,
It-
honestly, you
it-
can hear it from Don't Trust Me. Like you hear the automation, and it went into so much cool stuff. across the board, like Last Friday Night, like all these songs that are really Kesha, TikTok, like all these songs, that was his.
Dude,
Like,
and
Thanks, dude.
and that's you kind of nailed like what when I think of this podcast, like we just did a podcast about millionaires, and they were the first influencers. Like they were the first influencers, right? And nobody cites them as being so, right? And you guys made a sound that went into incredible, like it was pop culture.
Yeah.
Like you guys made that sound, and like
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's wild.
it is actually really wild to put all of those puzzle pieces together for something that comes out of an organic and fun thing, which like that's how we started, right? Like that's how we started, and like look where we are at right now.
I mean, I was thinking about you. So you told me like that you had just downloaded Ableton,
yeah,
and I was like, man, flashbacks to when I had pirated Reason, and I was like, it was just
how does
fun.
this thing work?
Yeah, 100%. But that was fun. You know,
Yeah.
I was whatever 22 years old or something, and it represented fun, and it was like, okay, I can take this shit that I like, this Nine Inch Nails sound. Oh, I'm gonna find out how to make that. I'm gonna combine it with this Lil Jon beat, and then this synth stuff from listening to the Rentals back in the day, like this Moog sound. And it was just, I don't know. It was. So I think our ethos was thought out about a lot, and I think our music was too. Maybe I'm doing a disservice to myself and to us. I think we definitely thought about it, but not in a way that was stressful, not in a way that was like, oh shit, like what is our, is this gonna stand up? Is this gonna?
No, it was a
just
good
like,
way. It was a good way of thinking about it, because we definitely put in a lot of time and effort into it. And
It's
I
like,
looked,
is this fun? Does it sound fun to us? Does this creatively push a pleasure button for us and our homies, like when we play it for them?
yeah, for sure. I mean, we had stuff that definitely started as skeletal, like demos that got thrown back and forth. But when it came to like being in Beltsville and actually like brass tacks of like recording these songs, it was really trying not to overthink a lot of it. And it was also like trusting each other and like all these things. Like,
What did we eat? I was trying to think about that.
I remember there's a Potbelly.
Potbelly.
So I was veggie at the time, obviously, by the lyric that was true at the time. It's not anymore. I eat a lot of meat.
Pause.
A lot of meat.
Clip it.
But we ate there was Potbelly, there was a Starbucks. That was really the
There was
only two
IKEA.
things.
We'd
And then
have
on the
some-
weekend we go to Adams Morgan
Yeah,
and DC
Go to
and
the
like
diner.
just the pharmacy bar.
the diner too.
Right. Oh, the diner, yeah, at the
And then we were
university.
gonna call "Don't Trust Me." We were up until like the last second. It was gonna be called "Softlier."
Softlier.
What does that mean?
A girl I was kissing a girl and I told her to kiss me softlier, and I didn't know that wasn't a word at the time.
And then
That's
the label
funny.
was like, "Are you guys sure?" And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And they're like, "No,
Have you guys told that story before?
no."
I want to ask about the Benny songs.
Yeah.
You did mention that Benny worked on a couple songs on this record. How did that come to be? What point in the process were you like, okay, we should work with another producer?
It was amazing because we got connected. I guess it must have been through Matt Squire, and then the people who Benny were working with. But Benny was super young at the time. He was,
I met him in New York.
how old
For a
was he?
dinner.
18 or 19?
He's 18. He was doing the spank rock stuff. That was super cool.
That's what I referenced. Like when we do these podcasts, we're like, well, if you like this,
Yeah.
you might like this. And I went back to Spank Rock.
Yeah.
That's like what I was smoking drugs in my car and listening
All
to.
right, yeah, actually, right on brand. No, so he had apprenticed under Disco D, who passed away, but like was an amazing producer, and he was just kind of doing his kind of coming out as like just an incredibly talented kid, and so I remember Sean linked up with him in person, and then we connected through email. I would send him some beats back and forth, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it's sweet." And so he came down while we were working in the studio. I think we had like 3 days.
Took the
to work.
train down.
And he ended up, we did "Don't Trust Me" from scratch with him.
On a Saturday,
Just knocked it out. And then, I mean, obviously back and forth on production and stuff afterwards. But then we had that song "Rich Man," that he like kind of rehashed and beefed up and worked on. So it was, and his style of working was so different from mine in terms of the actual technique of producing music.
Yeah, like what was that? Because how did you learn? Like you just learned by fucking around?
I learned by I'm not going to say that's how all people learn, especially this generation, because there's YouTube now, which
Yeah,
is
because
amazing.
there wasn't back
No.
then. So like, what did you do? Like, how did you learn how to use those programs?
Dude, you just do. You don't think, just do. Isn't that Top Gun
Do the
mantra?
do the do.
No, you just
It's Tyler Perry.
you just have fun. I don't know. Again, that was another arm of fun for the creativity, and you just dick around with stuff until you learn how to do what you want to do. And I'm sure along the way, you don't learn and learn incorrectly. But the kind of the cliche and the adage of art, it's like, is there a wrong way to make art necessarily? If you're expressing yourself and you're having fun, so. Yeah, I had a free program that like my buddy had bought that I just took his. This was Reason, and for the first time, I could like express what I wanted to express, and then those things open doors, like a certain creative avenue. You're like, oh, this sound I can put here. What if I do this here? What if I do? And so there's just these permutations that end up being fun, and there's so many different ways to do it, and that's why, especially when you're young and you're meeting other people who work so differently, you're like a fucking sponge, man. You're like absorbing everything that you can.
I mean, were you fucking flipping out like watching him do
Yeah, 100%.
something? So was he like one of those guys when you watch him, you go, how the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like you're like,
Yeah.
dude, why are you so quick? Like,
Yeah, so in terms of just technique, he didn't use MIDI at all, which MIDI is like an interface that basically it's like a control for telling sound.
I know I'm the best producer.
Yeah, you're a MIDI boy.
I know.
You're
You guys
MIDI
know.
boy. He's just audio, so he's like copying and pasting clips of audio that I had never really worked in that way per se before, because Reason was kind of an all MIDI
Reason's
program.
like just MIDI.
It used to be. I think it's now changed, but yeah, it used to be. So I was like, all my shit was like off the grid, and it was like I would have to struggle like a maniac to get things to be on time, and he was just doing it, and so I soaked that up. And then also working with Matt Squire, who's an incredible engineer and a great producer too, and
Perfectionist too.
perfectionist
Yeah.
and a work ethic that I had never seen before in music, like just diligently working away at shit. And so combining all that stuff and that element of fun and that element of like, man, I mean, in retrospect, like we were working like dogs, like we were working 16-hour
Oh,
days,
yeah, it
but
was
happily,
not-
you know?
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
like all fun.
It was and like, I mean, everyone, like we've been so lucky to work with so many really great producers, and like Nat said, like whether it's like Greg Kirsten, who is like literally a walking, talking, just like tasteful
Savant.
human arpeggiator of
Yeah.
just amazing synth tones.
Who is
and-
he? Who is this person?
Greg Kirsten's a producer. I mean, literally, we kind of got into him through like Lily Allen and all this
He
stuff
produced
early
Lily
on.
Allen's
But
second record. He does the Bird and the
Adele,
Bee.
Hello. Have you heard of it?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Kirsten. I mean, Benny was interesting, and still to this day, I think, like, speaking of like even 100 Gex, I just feel like there's people who come in and it's kind of unlearned. It's stuff like this that's like,
Yeah.
it's their own technique. I think Nat came in with that, like in his own realm, and there's obviously people who are more traditional, just like playing stuff in, but like a lot of people are like Benny he'd play Pro Tools, he'd play these samples, he kind of like learn these like, he'd have his like magical, like he was so young at the time, but like he was still under Dr. Luke too. So he's like, oh, this is how you make like a big chorus, and he'd have like these magic elements that he'd throw in that were just like,
Yeah, sounds back in this was before Splice, so sounds were coveted. So sounds,
Oh, yeah.
you'd travel with your sounds like on a
Like on a USB?
stick on your
Mhm.
necklace type shit. You wouldn't give it to anybody.
yeah,
Damn.
some real
It's kinda
gatekeeping.
No, but then also,
yeah.
we're talking instrumentally and stuff, but lyrically too. I think,
Yeah.
Sean has always carried the way for us lyrically. We both write lyrics, but Sean is kind of the trailblazer for that stuff. And he's, I don't know, again, in retrospect, I think, and at the time too, I realized that too, but like the kind of the underground hip hop battle rap upbringing
Battling my brother growing
of
up.
that mixed with, he sang choir in high school, and the musical upbringing that we both had from our folks, and that's inherited, listening to the Grateful Dead, to the band, to old blues records, jazz records, all this stuff. So he came at writing lyrics with a very unique background in it and a very unique palette of writing, and one that I think was right on for what we wanted to do, and that's being accessible but also being substantive sometimes, and being within that substance being playful, and I don't know. I think it was kind of a perfect mishmash of shit.
It's interesting because like gym class, like I think of like the albums that I personally was like between, which was obviously our underground hip hop stuff, but then I would be like gym class, Panic, and then a lot of the hardcore stuff that I was listening to, whether it was like He Is Legend or stuff like that, and I'd be like, oh, they're screaming and then they have these big choruses, but I'm like, we're rapping, and then we have these like very melodic moments, and they're like These Children Learn from Cigarette Burns, Fast Cars, like all that stuff to me when I was writing it definitely felt like it. I knew in that I was like, okay, this is like an emo moment, whatever. I knew whatever contemporary we were trying to do, but like a lot of it wasn't necessarily that thought. It was just like that was kind of second nature to me because that was what I was listening to. So it wasn't like, it was like that. This artist Y, who we really liked, who's from like Anticon stuff, who's like,
You like why? Right?
I love why.
oh, like that was Elephant Eyelash, like that album, like
So
Alopecia at the time. Like we were just like,
It was just so eclectic, and then
Yeah.
also musically so dope. And
The
it didn't-
lyrics.
the lyrics were sick. There was no, and we're super tragic. There were no rules in that music,
Yeah.
which was sick. I don't know.
yeah, and we kind of like, I think at least lyrically borrowing that into something that felt big. Like we were like, I remember we had like kind of our vision board in terms of like, yeah, we like Andrew WK, we like Lil Jon, we like these things that are like so big on stage, but we also like these moments that sort of like had this breath of like, it's almost like hit you with these like rap lyrics, but then like drop something in that feels like very, I don't know, maybe like more like tender or meaningful, or like reach across and like come back and forth.
And then
It was
reach
like,
across and take a bite of that Potbelly sandwich.
yeah, it's good. That I mean,
and some
till this
IKEA
day, it's still good.
meatballs.
Yum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys are saying is that, to me, at least, it sounds like you took all of your elements growing up and made it into a fun band, and was organic. And there was a couple lucky things that happened,
Big time.
and now here we are. Like now here we are. Now you guys are working on big stuff.
Yeah,
Still doing it. It's like.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing. Like, are there any like moments that you look back on really, really fondly in that time, like where you could, I don't know. We had an episode before this that I had a moment where I was like, God damn, dude, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. And when I thought about it, it like hit me in a different way because it really took me back to that time. Like I hadn't thought about it.
He's talking about waking up next to tequila. So
Yeah.
Wow.
So did you guys wake up next to tequila? No, but did you guys?
That's amazing.
Do you have any like moments like that you look back on and you're like,
Dude, so many.
like I just want to know some of those. They don't have to be like exceptional. They don't have to be like out of this world.
best
crazy.
person that you ever woke
No,
up next to.
You know, man.
On 3.
Again, we're just so fortunate that like we started this thing for fun. We kept doing it for fun. Like when we started hiring band members to play with us, like we didn't audition anyone. They were homies. They were
Yeah.
like homies that, like I remember Marshall, who still plays with us. You guys know Marshall. He was an amazing musician. I remember we got referred to him through our buddies. Like, oh yeah, I know this guy who plays guitar. He's dope. And we're like, all right, let's go meet him and see, because someone had dropped off our tour, and we're like, oh, let's go meet him for a drink. And he like brought his guitar in his car, and apparently was like ready to audition. We just like had a couple beers, and we're like, all right, dude, you want to come on this 2-month tour that extended into 10 years and more? And I think that it was just like we were surrounded by such great people. I think a lot of savvy people like Gabe and Mike on the other side were doing a lot of hard work and a lot of savvy work that we definitely weren't conditioned for, and we didn't know, and we've gotten to learn since then and stuff. But like, so along the way, I think that's like the main kind of keystone memory for me is like it was just this gradual ramp of like cool shit. It was like, first it was like, you can headline, you can play a show at your local venue. And we're like, what? We grew up going to shows there. That's insane. We can have an opening spot for a local band. That's insane. Do it. Then they're like, we want a headline? Yeah. Dude. You guys want to play in Denver and in Bigger? Yeah. You guys want to play in California for some shows? Yes. You guys want to go on tour across the country? Yes. You want to go across the world? You want to go? It's been just this gradual, especially in those first 3 years of like 2008, 2009, 2010, of just like eye-opening, crazy shit. And then, interrupted by moments of like, you're in Pontiac, Michigan. It's like a rough town. And I remember like making beats in the library and like a very placid, nice, calm moment, but a very surreal and strange moment, like where you're like, I would have never come to this place if it weren't for music. So it was, I don't know. I'm really, really, really happy that that at least, that I can look back on our time in music and like really not regret too many things, not resent things, and just kind of marvel at like the spirit of them and the people we've gotten to be. And that like, in the past few years, a lot of that has been you guys. You guys have given us opportunities. Like, we would have never gotten to fucking play Coachella. Are you kidding? And then we got to rock with you guys. We got to play Lollapalooza, and not just those professional opportunities, but the personal ones too. Like you get to meet. We've made our best friends in the world through music, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's such an incredible community, and so it's so amazing to look back on that. Yeah, you have these little vignettes of doing that, and like maybe they fade a little bit as you get older, because we all get older, but they don't fade away completely, and they're amazing.
Like that's what I wanted. That's the kind of the feeling that I wanted to get out of this podcast.
I'll hit a couple bullet points for you.
Let's hear it.
First thing, when I came to LA, we were at the Roosevelt, and I peed next to the singer of Block Party. I remember I gave him a high five as we were peeing in the urinal.
He regretfully gave you a high five.
I literally was like, I love your music, and put up my hand, and he looked at me like he's like, are you really doing this right now? And he did connect. We did high five.
That's
which
super
was
nice
cool.
of him. He didn't Jerry Seinfeld you?
No, it was cool. Like, he was super cool. I don't know. I was really happy about that.
Wait,
Yeah.
so just hold on. Let me.
Are we rewinding this? This moment? I was going to hit bullet points for you.
Back
We were
this
going
up a little
to
bit.
rapid fire.
What year was that? And like, was the album already made? Were you making the
No.
album?
I think we were making the album, so it was probably earlier 2008 or.
This was a bit of wild man
2007
tendency
maybe?
for me. This is when we came out here, and I said, the way that you know a city is when you sleep on the streets. And I opened the car door and I ran out into the streets.
He said he wanted to spend a night on the streets of LA, and
You did that?
no, we tackled him back, tackled him into the car. He was also wearing a Keystone Light 24 pack as like a knight's hat. Like looking through
This is
the
like,
eye.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you guys were just like excited and young, and you're out in LA and you're
Yeah.
fucking partying.
Dumb.
I mean, we're on like literally my idea of LA, and this is why I also was like, LA, I would never live there, was the Sunset Strip from the Hustler spot to the Rainbow Room. Really. That was like literally, I was like, this is because we'd play the Key Club, the Roxy. So that was LA.
What was the other one that we played? The knitting, was it a knitting factory?
Oh, the House of Blues was there.
And then the knitting factory, there was one there too. Yeah, so we played like literally the same stretch of Sunset. And
So I was like, oh, this is LA, like very cool. Like, okay, just a bunch of leathery, like old rock dudes just like hanging out.
And now that's us.
Dude, I love the Rainbow, by the way. Like, I've been there the past 2 weekends now.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, is it actually cool, or am I just over 35?
It's growing on. It's becoming. It's found its way into.
Yeah, I'm
you.
like,
It's a
I'm
parasite.
just an old rock dude in LA now, so it happens.
I get it now. I think when you see the three dimensionality, I mean, LA is just massive, and obviously I live here, so it's like you see how. But when you're only seeing that perspective of it, you're like, this is really sad. I mean, at the time, I think I was living in New York, and obviously Colorado is just a great place. So we're lucky to have that kind of in the quiver. So we saw that, and we're just like, okay, well, this place is Burnout Central, a bunch of people who want to be something. Like it's a
So
lot
yeah,
of actors who are servers.
People were taking us to like cool parties. So we went to like one of the Roosevelt cool parties,
yeah,
which
like
at the
Night
time,
Swim or something?
Yeah, at the time that
Yeah.
was like the thing. And we're
Things that were way above just our pay grade in general. Like we should like. Now thinking back on it, it's like just take us anywhere, like to the east side, like
it's
to
in
any
a
of these.
nice Olive Garden, man.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah, like I mean, we were at these places that was like, okay, you're gonna see and be seen type. Like literally walk out of the car and it's like, who are you? Who's like, and that just wasn't. I mean, that's never been our vibe. So like, but it was cool because I would see, like even early on, like there. I
So he
remember
made it a thing. We'd go back there every weekend, and he would just sit in the bathrooms and then just sit with, and then see who came and piss next to him. and just
Come
shake
on,
their hand.
that's not mostly true.
Dude, I remember this night swim. I remember you're bringing me back, which is like what I like. I like this is doing this just makes my I remember this shit.
This is called Cancel Morgan podcast.
I'm uncancelable. Like you can't do it. But I remember I was at night swim. I was with my friends. One of my friends was with Davey Havoc. They were like, come back, hang out in the room with us. And he was like wet because he was swimming, and he wouldn't go back out because nobody would bring him like a blow dryer. He didn't have a blow dryer to like blow dry his hair. And again, like I didn't know him. I didn't know this guy. I knew who he was.
Oh,
And
to
I
get
just
the
like,
to get the hair vibe right.
yeah, like, and I'm like a fucking small kid, like starstruck, being like, this is what celebrities need their.
I'll blow in your hair, Mr.
Yeah,
Havoc.
like, and I was like, anything you want, anything you need me to do, But like that,
so
I wasn't used to that.
A little bit
like,
lower.
I wasn't. I wasn't used to it, Like I wasn't used to what you were just describing.
Are you now? You guys are
Yeah,
like
we're
celebrity
blowing
culture.
Davey Havoc all the time
No,
now.
but you guys are like you
Kidding
guys
me?
are celebrity gatekeeper culture icon gurus now. You have like famous people come DJ for you and shit.
No, this is back then.
No, but I know. But now are
It's
you?
different.
are
No,
you
there's
used to
there's
it
some
now?
things that I
Now he's the Davey Havoc. I don't think you understand.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think I never changed like my perspective on anything. Like I've just constantly been like the same guy since I've been 15. I've just gotten older, but I still have the same sort of deal. But like I get like at least now when we do these big things, I'm able to be like, remember this moment. This is not always going to be like this. Think about what the cool thing is about this and be grateful for it. Try to remember this thing. So in 20 years, when if podcasts exist, somebody wants me there on the podcast, I can be like, this is the way that I felt during that time and hopefully get brought back. And like the way that you just described that and the way that you were talking about that is pretty much exactly like what I envisioned this thing to be.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think that's to your point. First off, I'm so thankful that we like finished our college like education. CU, like we're adults going into this industry, which I do think is very confusing for a lot of people, and like the alluring but also elusive qualities to it are difficult for a lot of people. But for us, like I think we were always had this like sense of humor to it, but also we like kind of knew we were there'd be parts of it whether it was like, yeah, Night Swim and Paris Hilton's there, or like there's like we were on The Real World Cancun, which Nat produced the intro song. If you ever go back,
Called Sex on the Beach.
Hell yeah.
we were there literally in Cancun seeing what craziness it is, like, because part of their thing is they were like promoters bringing us into a show, and we were on for like 2 days, and just like even just seeing what that is and like being part of it. And like I remember just like drinking my face off with one of the guys, and I remember I lost his like high school, he won state in football, and he's like, will you wear my ring to the bar tonight? I'm like, okay, let's do this. We went to like the biggest weird pyramid club, and then I look down, and it's like not on my hand anymore, and I'm just like, how am I gonna tell this bro that I dropped his ring into it? And I was like, this is gonna definitely be like
that place
the focal
was
point.
so insane. I remember it was like an arena, literally like an arena size, like a small arena size club, and we were there with them, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's crazy here. And then all of a sudden, as if like some sort of telekinesis cue, the cryo cannons came out, and every single dude in the club took his shirt off.
Yeah. which was my cue to really disappear with my ringless hands,
It
like
was actually
Frodo.
amazing. Like a feeling, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I was digging through like the YouTube videos and the history of the band and everything, I mentioned this when we talked about this album. Like, I feel like you guys have lived like 100 different lives, and that's super cool.
It was cool for me. It was so cool because I grew up in like the MTV world. Like, I was obsessed with the real world. I still love reality television. I think like between that and like I remember we met, like I did the same thing with Zac Efron, not in the urinal, but like literally in line, where I was just like, I love you. And he just like looked me in the eyes, like, sorry, what? I was like, I love you. Like, I've just had these moments with like touching into this like sphere, but knowing, like when we worked with like JC Chazé, like from like In Sync, and just like these moments, like you said, where it's like you never would ever think, for me especially, like middle school, high school, that I would ever even come close to touching this world that I was really into. Like, I would go with my buddy Wes, and we would just watch like Snick at Night, but we'd watch like MTV and all this stuff, and I was like, I want to be at the VMAs. I want to do this. We're doing the VMAs. Like, we literally play the VMAs. Like, it's a weird metaverse for me. It's not like this is where you're going to be, this is where you need to be. It's like we have our foundation. This is what we like, and it's just kind of a reach out, and it's like fun as hell to just touch ground there and just enjoy it.
And I guess maybe I haven't thought about it this way, but it's also kind of a parallel to like our music, and that it's so many hats and so many, for better or for worse. Like, maybe it's not pinable down, but yeah, we've been in so many different circumstances where it's kind of a kick you moment, and it's odd and it's surreal and it's strange and it's awesome, but then also punctuated by like, we just go back. And I mean, I guess everyone, you get moments of like placid, kind of lucid time in between to be like, oh, reset, and like go and see your family and hang out with your buddies, like go to a bar. And it's so nice to be able to like have one foot in, one foot out, as I'm sure you guys know from going to huge festivals and touring and playing, and then like going home.
He doesn't know. He lives at the Rainbow Room now.
Yeah, I just hang at the Rainbow.
Chateau Marmont.
Smoke cigs.
when you guys like the first like big thing that you guys did,
Working
and
on
then
my
you
leather.
came home, like the first
Yeah.
big thing, like you did, and then you came home. Was your family like, there's our famous guy,
No.
like there's our
No, man.
How's your little rap group doing?
No, like we're from, our families are so amazing, dude. They're so supportive, and like I would crowd surf over to my dad in like the first level of like the balcony at our local shows, and then crowd surf back, and they're out there. They were like wearing all our merch and so stoked for us and supportive, and then just so amazing. Like both of our
love it.
families are just so awesome and supportive, and then like very few moments of like, I don't know, maybe it's also a testament to us not, like in retrospect, not falling into like the scene and like not going full into these instances that we've been to, but like we didn't have too many like friends being like, oh, you're different, you changed, all this stuff. No, like you stay the same, like you're saying, like you know, you become I don't know, I think we became fully realized people at fairly young, and then these things, they mold you for sure, and the experiences mold you creatively, personally, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your life in general, but also like you kind of stay the same person, I think.
Yeah, I think our parents, like, speaking for both our parents, it's like they're so supportive. They go to all the shows that they can. I think even more recently, like I don't think I've heard my dad like really lean into like this even the last 303 day we play March 3rd in Colorado. It's like 303 day, and like just he's like, that was the best show I've ever seen you guys do, and like so proud of you, and like give me like that's for me. I don't know, like
That's
my
the
dad's
most important shit.
super
awesome.
supportive and all these things, but it's like it's funny because they also are just like, they are completely human in the sense that like they see you in it's like a gradual like slow tide. It's like it kind of comes up. It's not like it's just all at once. You get played on KTCL, like Nerf. That's like a big thing. It's a radio, like the alt radio station. So like those things, just hearing her on the radio station, all these things. But my mom's still the same person, and she's like, in middle school, you were in the Telltale Heart, and you were the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. If really, you fucking sucked. I'm like, Mom, I was in middle school. It's kind of a one-man play. I shouldn't have been doing that as a middle schooler. Anyway, like
I mean, you were probably pretty shit, dude.
we have the video. Let's
should
play it
roll-
right
yeah,
now.
let's
Let's
roll
play
it
it
to-
front to back right now.
Do you have it? You have the video?
I think, yeah, my mom has it.
Damn.
You
Have you watched
you
it?
Probably pop that on there. You probably pop that
Maybe
shit
you
on there.
crushed
I
it.
think I actually I don't know. Let's see. I haven't watched it, so let's all watch it right now.
Well, speaking of being good parents, you guys have been here for an hour and 10 minutes. It's
Yeah,
late at
actually.
night. I appreciate you guys coming to the studio. I don't want to keep
we
you.
joked we joked early on, and I still want to do it sometime where, like, have people that we kind of know at one of our shows or something like that, and then pretend like we have a handler like introducing our wives to us as if we kind of have forgotten who they are.
Like you.
the first
went
time I
to
heard about
To
this.
No.
surprise your wives.
No. Like someone, like, say you meet somebody in the industry or something, and they're talking to them, and then you have like a gag, like a buddy come up and be like, "And now this is your wife, Liz," and like you're anyways.
Like demented.
Yeah, like a little bit Aussie.
And Liz not knowing.
No, Liz knows. Liz is in on the joke.
Like we've been at the
Also,
Rainbow
what
Room
the-
for our.
I forgot. Liz made cookies for you guys.
What?
Do you have them?
They're in the car.
That's perfect. What a great end to this podcast.
That's
I didn't
so
think it would
nice.
be
God,
any
I
better.
love Liz. I could do this
Same.
for a long time. And honestly, anytime you guys want to do this and come back and not even talk about like this is something that I want to do.
No, you're sweet.
I don't think TJ wants to do this, but I really am interested in
He's captive.
other artists' perspectives on albums,
Thanks, man.
like who were around the same time, and it might be really fun to have you guys in to talk. One of you, whoever.
We'll
the
talk
fuck.
about why alopecia.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted
that'd
to
be
start
good one.
doing bonus episodes where we're not talking about like the scene albums, where it's just like we're taking an album, we're taking a deep dive, and if you guys ever have one, I am more than happy to do one of those with you.
Love it.
Perfect.
Bonus Jonas. Talk about the Jonas Bros record.
Wow. Now we're
I
podcasting.
just win.
But I just
Save it for the podcast, bro.
I just want to like say it. I've said it to you guys a bazillion times. I really do genuinely think that you're not only one of the greatest bands, what we're saying bands that I've ever heard. You're also
Nice.
some of the greatest guys I've
Thank
ever
you so
met
much.
in
Likewise.
doing this whole thing, and it's really really nice to see. There's never been any ups and downs. You are this person in front of this person, and then you change in front of this person. You guys are who you are. It really shows in the music. It shows in your personalities, and it kind of shows in your lives and friendship.
You're
And
sweet, buddy. Thank you.
it's awesome because you don't meet a lot of guys like you.
You guys are the same way, and I think that's why it's one of the reasons we love you guys, man, and one of the reasons that we've gravitated to you guys professionally and personally. It's just like, it's such a pleasure to work with you guys, to be around you guys, to smell you,
I smell pretty good,
to
right?
look at
I
you.
smell pretty good.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let me get a sniff.
I thought you smelled
you
great
smell
when we
nice.
came in.
You smell
so-
nice.
I
What
already
do you got?
smelled
What's
Sean.
Little
going
lava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys smell like shit to me, bro.
Did you shit your pants?
Yeah, we didn't tell that one story. I just wanted to say this one thing
Are
when
you gonna shit,
Nat,
a shit pants
no,
story?
when Nat was talking about how he speaks French, and the way that I met Shaquille O'Neal
Oh,
was we
O'Neal.
were playing Lollapalooza,
yeah.
and
the whole goal of the day was to try and get Morgan to take a picture with Shaq.
Well, I heard this. I
Yeah.
heard this before we got there.
Yeah, his green room was really close to us.
and so we're like, we're in our green room. He's walking by.
I saw him, by the way. I was the one.
You got eyes.
This was all group effort.
Yeah.
This is great. But like somebody saw him. They're like, Morgan.
Somebody.
He's at
I knew that was gonna happen. That's why. I said that.
some none who is not important, and it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
like this.
Saw him.
Like, I don't even know. I think it was you who saw him.
It was probably me who saw
Yeah,
him.
for sure.
And then so he was coming out, and he's getting surrounded by all these people. Obviously, they all want to take pictures with Shaq. And you, since you're like just as tall as him, and you like leaned into his ear and spoke French, and you're like, "Can you take a picture with this guy?" And that's how
What
it
did you
happened.
say to him? Actually,
No, I think I just called him Monsieur Diesel. I don't know why. It was
You
a
knew it was
reflex.
gonna- you
it was
knew
a
it was
reflex.
gonna-
I think it was just different.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm tall. I'm close to his ear. And my buddy. And in the back of my mind, I was like, my buddy
my,
wants a picture.
mon
petite-
petite friend.
Mon petit-
My
tu vois, I
petit
mean?
frère.
And I was like, all right, let's see what happens.
Let me put that photo right
It's great. It's so good.
Yeah, it's the
amazing.
best.
And,
It was-
and to his credit, he was super nice.
Yeah, he was super
He's great.
nice.
He's a big guy.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
So are you.
Nice
You know,
dude.
like very, very.
Yeah,
I
I
also
mean-
tried to lie on our podcast when we did it with just me and TJ. I was, because I like the album so much, and I didn't want to gas you up as much as we did. I was like, I'm just gonna come up with a bunch of lies and see if TJ catches me.
That's dope.
And I said that you won the tallest man contest in Denver. And TJ caught me the first time. I had no more lies. He was like, "That's not."
You said
terrible
true.
lie.
Dikembe
He also
Mutombo.
said voted tallest man. I was
know
like, oh,
what?
they're voting for that.
We were up for best new artist at the. Sean was talking about the VMAs though. We were nominated and
Robbed,
We
but-
campaigned. We were robbed by a certain artist named Lady Gaga. But
Huh?
I remember
Who-
when
who's
they
it?
announced it, me and Sean were holding hands, just super hopeful. And then they announced it, and we both had to pee really bad, so we went and peed.
And high-fived each other
Yes,
at the
exactly.
urinal.
And that's how the story began.
I love it.
I
Well,
gotta-
thank you
I
guys
gotta
again.
go,
Thank you guys, man.
All right,
Thank
we
you
have to
guys
go
so
eat
much.
these
My
cookies.
Uber's here.
All right.
Yeah, I got cookies for you, Liz.
Thank
Love
you
you
so much.
guys.
Shout out, Liz.